Hey there, friends. Meteorologist Shane Smith here with you. By the time you're watching this, it's most likely going to be July 17th, 2025. Hope you're doing well. We're tracking a few showers and thunderstorms across the bluegrass late on this Wednesday night. And more storms are going to head our way for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And by the time all is said and done, we could have some high water problems to deal with. So let's break down what's going on out there right now. All the action that we've seen tonight, and there's been a lot of heavy rain and a lot of intense lightning in a few parts of the state tonight, have all been driven just by pop-up showers and thunderstorms. It has been incredibly humid across the region tonight. We've seen dew points in some parts of Kentucky pushing close to 80 degrees. Now, that is just absolutely insane moisture levels. In fact, right now, for most of the state, dew points running into the mid to upper 70s. Just to give you a comparison, that is incredibly tropical air. That's the kind of air you would see typically down in the tropics. I've been to Panama a couple times on mission trips. They had dew points mid to upper 70s almost every day while I was there. It's just incredibly thick, moist, humid air. And that kind of an air mass is parked over a good chunk of the bluegrass tonight, and it's not going anywhere. In fact, the heat and humidity is just going to build for a couple more days because we have a cold front off to our west, high pressure off to the southeast. We're seeing just a strong southerly flow, and we're just going to continue to see moisture stream in. In fact, we can switch the satellite over to the national view and pop on the water vapor imagery, and we can just kind of see how the moisture is flowing across the U.S. And most of what we're seeing is low-level moisture right now. So you can see there's not much in the way of cloud cover tonight. It's dry in the lower levels. But that moisture is going to stream in from the Gulf of Mexico and from the Pacific, and we are just going to get a ton of moisture in here over the next several days, and that is going to cause some problems. In fact, severe weather potential for your Thursday. It's not a great one. It's just a 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. It's a marginal risk. And with that, we're talking about mainly isolated severe thunderstorms. Could see winds gusting near 60 miles per hour and 1 inch hail. Not a big deal, but just something to be aware of. Now, as far as the flash flood threat for tomorrow, or the excessive rainfall threat that could lead to flash flooding, tomorrow we have no risk in Kentucky, and that's because any showers we see tomorrow should be very isolated. You'll see that when we go to the modeling here in just a second. But we go to Friday, the entire state's under a marginal risk of flash flooding. That's a 5% chance. That's a 1 out of 4 on that scale. And then as we go into Saturday and Sunday, both of those days, most of the bluegrass, at least the areas in yellow, under a slight risk of flash flooding. That's a 15% chance. That is a little bit of a higher chance. That's when you start to take a little bit more of a notice on that. And that could lead to some heavy rain, or at least the heavy rain is what's causing that to be put into play. So let's break it all down, talk about how this should play out. Oh, real quick, just to understand the difference in those excessive rainfall levels. I found this tonight. Marginal, the 1 out of 4, isolated flash floods possible, localized and primarily affecting places that can experience rapid runoff with heavy rainfall. When you start going into that slight category, that 2 out of 4, which is what we're expecting for most of the state on Saturday and Sunday, scattered flash flooding. So that means it's starting to become a little bit more possible, a little bit more larger geographic area it could impact. Mainly localized. Most vulnerable areas are urban places, cities, roads because of runoff, small streams, and kind of valleys. But there is the threat of isolated significant flash flooding once we get into that slight category. And that's a little bit about what I'm concerned about especially as we go Friday into Saturday. Let's take a look at the HRRR model. And this was the OZ run. So for you weather nerds out there, that was the evening run tonight. It's showing few showers lingering overnight tonight. Some of those should dissipate once we lose the heating of the day. But we will likely wake up with a few showers, especially in south central and southeastern Kentucky from like Somerset to Pikeville. We go into the afternoon, and one or two showers fire up in southern Kentucky during the afternoon, but the main action is going to be back towards the Ohio River. And I think if we're going to see severe weather, it's going to be northern and central Kentucky is going to have the best chance of that. And then we go on into Friday. Friday, notice how a lot of those thunderstorms have a very west to east orientation, and they don't look to be moving much. Something I'm going to show you right now that has me a little concerned. This is the rainfall estimation off this model run. So up here, northern Madison County, 6-7 inches in the next 48 hours, if that model is correct. Down here on the Whitley-Knox line near Corbin, 9 inches almost. That is a major, major, major red flag to me. When you start seeing rainfall totals going upwards of that 8 to 9 inch range, that can cause some pretty significant flash flooding. Now, am I saying we're going to see a flash flood in Madison County and in Knox or Whitley County on Friday? No, I am not saying that. But what I am saying is when we see those kind of signals showing up on the modeling, that is a red flag that, oh, that potential's there. The atmosphere is absolutely juiced with moisture right now. I don't know if you were outside today. I was out moving some things around this evening, and even late into the evening, it's the air you could wear. You could just feel how thick that atmosphere is with moisture right now. Those dew point levels are oppressive. Well, when we get thunderstorms that can wring all that out, that is enough to cause some problems. I do want to go back real quick to the HRRR model and look at one thing back on the radar product. Just want to pop up the old SKU-T diagram and some of the precipitable water here. I'm going to draw your attention down here to this PW value. That's precipitable water, 2.26 inches. That means if you were to take all the water in the atmosphere and wring it out at one time, how much rain could you get in an hour? 2.26 inches. That is a lot. And if you get that for 2, 3, 4 hours, you could quickly get up into that 7-8 inch rain range. That is not a good thing. Remember, for that flooding that happened in eastern Kentucky back in 2022, for a lot of folks, it was kind of 10 inches. That was kind of the tipping point for that. For down in Texas, the flooding they had down there, that 10 inches. When you get in very hilly terrain, that water has nowhere to go. 1 inch of rain over 1 square mile is 17 million gallons and some change. Times that by 10, 170 million gallons in just a single square mile. That water can start adding up quickly. Now, once we get into Friday, those storms should die down during the overnight hours. But as that front approaches, we look at the European model, more showers and storms diving in south or northwest to southeast. Saturday, Sunday, on into Monday. That's why we do have that excessive rain outlook, a slight risk of flash flooding Saturday and Sunday. Now, this model is not as good as the HRRR about getting into those details, showing a widespread 1 to 2 inches, but you may have isolated pockets in there, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inches. GFS model a little bit more aggressive, widespread 2 to 3 inches. I don't want to get too hung up on the exact rainfall totals. Let's just talk about the overall pattern. The overall pattern is looking very wet. hot and humid, and that humidity could lead to some flash flooding. Now, temperature is likely going to come down a little bit as that front gets closer on Friday. I don't think we quite get to 80. I think that one run of the GFS a little too low. We'll probably be mid 80s with cloud cover and rain. But then we're right back to it. Upper 80s, hot and humid again, with more daily thunderstorm chances next week. So this pattern is not showing any real sign of letting up. And that moisture flow is not showing any real sign of cutting back. This is a pattern that can cause some problems. We've already seen several places across the continental U.S. that has had flooding issues in the last couple of weeks. I'm hoping we don't add Kentucky to it, but we need to be very aware the next couple of days, friends. Not trying to scare anybody, just saying, hey, we need to prepare. Okay, so how do we prepare for flash flooding? Well, here's what you do. Know how to get to higher ground. Know where the nearest location you can go that is higher than your dwelling place is. Know how to get there quickly. If you see a flash flood watch issued for your area, that means start paying attention to the weather a little bit more. Flash flood warning, hey, keep an eye on those flood prone areas. If you start getting an observed flash flood warning, a catastrophic flash flood warning, or a flash flood emergency, get your butt to higher ground. It's a good time to dust off the old weather radio, make sure it's working. Download apps like your local TV station's weather app. Have multiple ways to get those warnings and have a plan of action. And remember, with flash flooding, driving through a flooded roadway is how most fatalities occur. If you come across a flooded road, turn around, don't drown, find another way to get to higher ground. Not saying that to scare folks, just making sure you know what to do if the time comes and we do have to deal with some flash flooding. I'm crossing my fingers, I'm saying my prayers that we don't, but I just want to let y'all know, when I start seeing those 7-8 inch rainfall totals showing up on the high-res modeling, that's enough to get the old boy a little bit concerned. It's like, okay, we're in weather alert mode now. So be especially aware on Friday. I think tomorrow, a few scattered storms, especially northern and central Kentucky. Those could be on the strong side. We got to watch for that flood threat Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll have more updates coming up. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Meteorologist Shane Smith. You can follow me on Facebook. I post a lot of updates there. I'm S. Smith Weather on X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Please follow, subscribe, share this. Let folks know, hey, we need to get a little weather aware. I know we're all weather weary here in southern and eastern Kentucky, especially around my hometown of London. We're still recovering from that tornado 2 months ago. But we need to definitely start keeping an eye on things the next couple of days. This is the kind of pattern that can cause some problems. All right, friends, that's all I got for you for tonight. I'll try to have some more updates throughout the next couple of days. Take care. Stay weather aware. Bye, y'all.